Hi, I'm Kenneth, and this is Common Hawthorne. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm doing a VR to Brant at Moonbaby. It's a hashtag called Tarot Collector, and there are 9 questions about decks I own. First off, my most expensive deck. The deck that I have paid the most for, came in a nice bag, is the Tarot of Delphi, which is out of print, and I bought it in a private transaction with somebody from Facebook. I'm a great fan of Pre-Raphaelite art, and this isn't really if I were doing a deck, there are different artists. This is not actually Pre-Raphaelite art, but it's kind of close. Very shiny cards, large, kind of. It's not an easy shuffler, but I'm happy to have it. I'm not upset at the amount that I paid for it. My least expensive deck I got in a private transaction as an add-on, and it's the mini Visconti Tarot from Lo Scarabeo, which I'm sure was not expensive to begin with, and then was certainly not expensive as a used deck. And I have edged it just using a black Sharpie, and I like that. It seems to me that it transformed the deck from something that I was just curious about in order to see the images, even though they're very tiny. But it's kind of it's cheap paperish. I mean, it's not paper. It's a card, and it's coated. But I don't know. Just now that it has shiny black edges, it seems more classy somehow. The deck other collectors want to steal from my collection, and that is probably, I mean, as everybody has said, oh, I wouldn't like to think that people want to steal tarot cards. But anyway, La Corte de Taroki, which again, I got in a private Facebook-mediated transaction. And as everyone says, the tactile quality and even the way it sounds, the paper that it's on is really amazing, and it doesn't shuffle well. I don't like hand over hand shuffling, so I don't do it very well. And I dropped a card. Let me just move that out of the way so it doesn't get injured. My strangest deck. Well, that would have to be my Opera Taroki. So the Fool is Candide by Leonard Bernstein. The Magician, it is not actually labeled. And so I don't know them enough. Here's La Papessa, which is, this is Queen of the Night from Die Zauberflöte. Empress is Turandot. Emperor is from Thomas Ide's Tempest. Debussy's Pelléas et Melisande. not a very interesting back. But large cards. I haven't shuffled. I doubt that it will shuffle very well, and I actually doubt that I will use it much, if at all, as a tarot deck. Mostly it's just to enjoy the art on it. The deck other collectors are least likely to have in their collection. I would say that's probably this cheap, but kind of old at this point, Tarot of Dürer. It's not actually art by Dürer. Of course, it's a Lo Scarabeo, but it's art inspired by Dürer's work. And I don't have the box handy or the little white book handy, so I'm sorry I can't tell you who the artist actually is. But it's out of print. I got it through an eBay transaction, I think, from Ukraine or someplace strange to me. Not strange if you live in Eastern Europe, but anyway, I really like it. It was an early deck, and is actually tied for the answer to one of the other questions. The oldest deck, or the deck I've had the longest. So I have two copies of this. One is taped into a study book, so I don't know which is literally the oldest. But I have, an old plaid back, two plaid back bowed from disuse for a couple of decades. I have to have bought this like in the early 80s. So there's that. My newest deck is the Oculee Occultati Tarot by Radomir Bogusławski. I butchered that. But I know the L with a stroke is not pronounced L. Very unusual, large cards. I have not shuffled them yet because there's no identification on the card. And I'm afraid that while some of them are obvious, that if I get them out of order without making some sort of mark somewhere, that they may not always be obvious. Like, in the abstract, could that be the Queen of Wands? So that's my newest deck. The deck that made me want to collect decks in the first place. Well, there's the fact that the Rider-Waite-Smith wasn't really that interesting to me. So maybe when I realized that, I had always known that there were other decks because I owned an Aquarian tarot back in the day. But when I kind of saw the variety and realized that they're actually out-of-print decks that you could still find, so that would be the Tarot of Dürer, but also the John Bauer Tarot, which I have chopped down because I don't think it will work for me as a tarot deck, and so I'm planning on using it as just an oracle or a storytelling deck. So I've been splitting it up into kind of these, fairy tale, gnome, troll kind of cards, and then fantasy people cards, and fantasy people with trolls or animals, just to start to get a different idea of how the images read when they're not assigned. They weren't made for a tarot deck. They were just appropriated. So there's no reason to think that they wouldn't be perfectly good as oracle cards. And my favorite deck is easily the Sasaribito Tarot, which no doubt anyone watching this has seen. It's got gilded edges, which are actually pocked a little bit. Shuffles nicely. I can overhand it. Although, like I said, I don't do that very well, and I feel like it does that actually is more likely to damage a card, or where I'm going to drop cards on the floor where they could be run over by my chair or something. So anyway, there you have it. And I'm sorry I keep looking down there because I have two screens and this is where the questions are, but that's where I am. And it's so tempting. So yeah, I'm Kenneth. This is Common Hawthorn. Thanks for watching. Like or subscribe if in fact you like it enough to subscribe, and I hope to see you again. Bye.